All right, welcome back to our Simple Healthy Life podcast, where our goal is to have real, insightful conversations on topics that we find interesting. And today, I thought it would be fun to solve one of society's greatest problems. This has come up in my life a few different times recently, and I don't really believe we're going to, of course, solve the problem. So, newsflash, if you're looking for answers, we might not have them today. But I want to talk about what it means to be proactive and essentially why we aren't as a society, as an individual. What are the things that block us from being proactive? So I'll start off with just kind of this, what drove the conversation for me was, as you know, as everybody knows, we're building the recovery spa and taking responsibility for your own recovery before you're super run down, before you have to do it, like before you just can't have another option, you're injured or you're sick or whatever, is something that I'm trying to help people. Maybe I'm trying to inform and inspire. Right? I'm trying to tell people, hey, this is something that's valuable. And, you know, coming from me at the moment, maybe that does sound like a sales pitch, but I figure let's talk about it. Let's literally break it down and say, what does it mean to be proactive, and why might we want to do it, or why we don't do it? So I'll just throw it open-ended to you.
Yeah. I think it's a hard problem, because many of us know that we need to be proactive, or we need to eat well or move well or do the mental health activities or communicate better, but we just don't. We just don't do it, right? And maybe we do it in some capacity, but we don't do it very well. And you had asked me, you said, well, in what ways are you proactive, Ryan? I said, well, I do eat pretty well. I think I move pretty well. I do the meditations and the journaling and all that kind of stuff. I do work on a lot, and it takes a lot of focus. It's something that you have to be mindful about. And as we were kind of going back and forth, we landed on this idea that a lot of people are just very distracted. They're engrossed in everything else that comes across their day. The emails, and the boss has something for them to do, and their kids are sick, and their spouse is mad at them for not taking out the trash, or whatever it is. Why I always use that example, I don't know.
Some trauma there?
Maybe. Oh God, we won't get into that. But yeah, I think a lot of people are just so distracted, and obviously that's reflected in screen times, and on top of all that too. I mean, like, I think the average amount of screen time, phone time, is like 8 hours a day.
8 hours every day.
Yeah,
Average.
Yeah, that's the average. Isn't that remarkable? It's like 6 to 8. It's somewhere in that range. It's a lot.
So you're like literally looking at your phone, or the phone's on?
Yeah.
Wow, that's typical for us as a society?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
I wonder if all the answers are in there.
We solved it.
Okay, never mind. We figured it out. There it is. Oh, I wonder. Okay, so this is random, completely random. It's so random. When you're listening to this, you might think to yourself, we should cut this part out, but we're not going to. Yesterday, we watched this show on elephants, which I find amazing.
Yeah.
And I had the thought, what it must be like to be an animal that lives 80 plus years on this planet without distractions. And like, you're an animal, you're walking around. We typically think of them as maybe not as intelligent as us, but we know that elephants are. So now you're this super relatively intelligent animal just walking around through the jungle for 80 years with no televisions, no sports, no gladiators, no nothing.
Right.
What that must be like.
I bet it's more engaging than we would think it is. I love this idea too that I've been, contemplating, I suppose, that everything we do is a skill. Every little thing that we do is a skill, whether that's speaking, breathing, moving, dancing, eating, like all of it is a skill. And you could look at any action that you take, or any action that you're engaged in, and boil it down to it being a skill. But the dangerous aspect of that is then everything we do is a skill. And so then when we're on our phone scrolling, like, guess what we're getting better at? We're getting better at scrolling. We're great scrollers.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's just talk about work. You get better at doing work, or you get better at avoiding work.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Difficult conversations. You get better at having difficult conversations, or you get better at avoiding difficult conversations.
Right.
And especially in the work environment. It's funny when we talk about this proactive, and you ask somebody like to be proactive, they almost get like this offended. Like, even maybe probably at the beginning of this conversation, people probably listen and be like, I'm proactive? What do you mean? Like, no, I'm obviously proactive. Because of course we are. In some skills, we're proactive at building some of the skills, but then we're avoiding typically a lot of the other ones. Mental health is a huge one, right? I'm fine. I always have been. I always will be. I don't need your mumbo jumbo, right? Okay, well, maybe you're one of the people that's in that 8-hour screen time. What is that doing to your brain?
Right.
I get to talk to a lot of the youth, and recently, since screen time has come up, I've been asking them. We put them in a group. We ask them to take their phones, put them away. We actually take their phones, and that's kind of a brutal way of saying it, right? We just say, hey, can you please put your phones over here for a little while? Which they do. And then I say something like, hey, did you guys know that when you're scrolling through your phone, it sets your mind into default mode? And also, did you know that there's really, really smart people that get paid a whole bunch of money to convince your brain subconsciously to stay scrolling? And then they go, oh, no, I didn't know that. Then I ask them this question. Why? Why do you do it? What's the reason for you being on your phone that long? And I've been getting these answers that are amazing to me.
Really?
Yes. Number one answer I get all the time. Well, we were brought up with it. We don't know any better. For real.
Okay.
Number two answer. Well, when we were young, our parents would put us in front of the phone in order so that we wouldn't bother them.
Yeah.
Those are the top two answers.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy to hear our youth say, yeah, this is our reasoning behind our addiction for scrolling, for screen time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. The parents putting their kids in front of their phones so that the parents can be in front of their phones.
Yeah, right? And I'm probably just offended a whole bunch of people that are like, no, I just only do
sure.
that every once in a while, right? Like,
I'm sure I did. Yeah.
Yeah. But truth is, like, yes, like, how many times you at a restaurant and you see like mom and dad eating dinner, kid on the iPad. Right. Hey, I'm not telling you how to parent. I don't even have kids, but I'm saying that hearing from the kids now that are in high school saying, hey, this is the top two answers I get. Well, I've always had it.
Right.
Just always had it. Okay, so it's such a logical response too. Like, where's my wallet? Well, I don't know. I've had my wallet in my pocket since I was old enough to have money, right? Where are my keys? They're just there. Like, and now these kids have had it since they were 5, 6, 7 years old in their hand at some point.
Right. And we know it's a problem, yet we do it anyways. And I don't think there's any parent on the planet, hopefully not, that thinks that that's a good thing. But in that moment, it certainly feels necessary. And yeah, I'm not a parent either, but I probably would get to the end of the day or at dinner and I'm just like, just shut up, like get on your phone and like just behave, So and maybe part of that is because we're so overwhelmed, and we were kind of chatting earlier, and the thought came up where there's all these things, because there's all these skills and we're so aware of all these skills, we have so much information. It's like everyone knows that they have to be better at eating, and they have to get better at moving, and they have to get better at communication, and they have to be a better runner and a better, a talker and a better breather, a better meditator, better journaler, a better writer, better worker, better mom, better dad, better brother, right? Like, everyone knows this, and that's the problem, is we get so much information. And I think people are just overwhelmed. I mean, how is it that you can be better at everything all at the same time?
You can't. So then you shut down.
Right.
Or you choose and you say things like, I'd be more proactive at work, but I'd be more proactive at this, but right? It's almost like we open the door to say, hey, maybe you could be a little more proactive at work And they go, but I work from home and it's better for me if I spend the extra half an hour that instead of working on that project, working with my son, doing the laundry so that I don't have to do it when they get home or whatever the case is. But we end up justifying it and saying, I would be more proactive, but, right? And especially with our physical and mental health.
Right.
The other real challenge is, and one of the challenges that society has is it's very unquantifiable. Unquantifiable? I can use that word?
Yeah, I'm following. What's unquantifiable?
What it means to be proactive.
Gotcha.
Like if I didn't go to the gym, would I die earlier? Right? They say that 80% of chronic disease is preventable, like straight up preventable,
Right.
with lifestyle intervention. Okay, so the answer to that question is yes, right?
Yeah.
But even knowing that 80% of chronic disease is preventable through lifestyle intervention, people will say, well, you can't guarantee that it's going to happen to me, right? There's 20% of people out there that live my way and they don't have any issues at all.
Right. Or they just simply don't care. You know how many people just don't care? A lot.
It seems like it, and it's strange to me.
Yeah. People tell me that a lot.
Really?
I don't care. I don't care. I know I'm doing I know all this stuff, but I don't really care. Good. Bring on the early demise. It's already been here too long, right? Isn't that something? And this is why I really am fascinated by mental health and how like eating impacts that, and how just how our thoughts impact that, and how we can manage that, and all that is because I hear so much of this, like from people who are, neighbors, friends, otherwise normal people. These aren't people like in psych wards, right? They're just your average person, and they say things like that, and there's nothing wrong that they say things like that. That's how they feel, and it's a sad state of affairs.
I think, does it go back to maybe something to the effect of, we know it's over. We know we're not going to get out alive. So we just believe that we can't control longevity. We just believe that, I know for me, when I was younger, I can remember very specifically thinking, there's no difference between 60 and 90.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm 43, I'm like,
right.
There's a big difference between 60 and 90. That's another third of a lifetime. Right? That's 30 years. And if you can live them healthy, it's 30 amazing opportunities to go around the sun.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it mean to be proactive? Or is it why does your brain go back to, well, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, so might as well just chill. Being proactive is hard. It's work. It takes work. And, building that routine to say, or maybe it's just that by the time we're old enough to realize, hey, these are things that we could build into our routine, we're also old enough to realize that, hey, screw it. No one's telling me what to do. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. To a healthy 70 and an unhealthy 70 years old is just such night and day. One is a miserable existence and the other is fine, right? But people don't. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to envision that for a lot of people. It's 30 years, 40 years, I'm gonna be healthy or well. That's forever. Who knows what life is gonna be like? At that time.
Right. Or you get to the thought, and you run around the thought, okay, I'm going to do all these things, and I'm going to be that person, and then you're like, I don't know, it's a lot of work every day. I gotta work at not dying later. It's it does seem to me that there's all these excuses, all these reasons why you just choose not to be proactive.
Right. Right.
But what about let's put health aside for a second.
Sure.
And say how about being a proactive friend? Right? I would like to have more friends in my life. Well, how do you make that happen? Right? You got to go out there and be proactive. You got to call the friends you have and say, hey, I would like to spend time with you.
All right.
Right? I'm not saying not everybody does that, But I'm saying that there's a lot of people in my life, maybe they don't want to be my friend, but maybe there's a lot of people in my life that aren't picking up the phone and saying, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Or, can we get a date on the calendar for even 2 months out, just because I'd like to continue having a relationship with you as a friend.
Right.
And maybe this hits home for some people, and maybe it doesn't, but I think that's a lot of people out there that would say, I do want to spend more time with my friend, but just like we said, I do want that, but
Yeah.
I'd like that, but.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk. I like this train of thought, and let's talk actionable. What is it that the person? What is it that you? Yeah. I want, but what? Well, I don't have enough time. Okay. You have just as much time as everyone else, and I'll use myself as an example. I probably don't connect as much as I want with certain friends as I do others, because they're not necessarily in my routine. And for example, like I go to jiu-jitsu and I have these kind of like relational interactions with people there, which fits into my day very well. And so I spend a lot of time connecting with those people, whereas people who may not be there, during my day, when am I gonna contact them? I'm busy from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then then what? Then I'm going to bed, right? So there really isn't a lot of time. And when I say I'm busy, I'm like, each hour is blocked and I'm engaged in something, and so it is very difficult. However, what would I need to do to connect with these other non-jiu-jitsu friends? I would need to give up jiu-jitsu. I would need to at least have 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever it is, to block off that time and say, you know what? I'm going to prioritize this, right? A lot of people do this kind of similar mental gymnastics, or the lack of mental gymnastics around movement or fitting in some type of movement. And they'll say, well, 9 to 5 work, and then 5 home, I'm busy cooking dinner, and I'm getting the kids ready for bed and whatnot. Well, then that's your standard, and so maybe the standard needs to change, and that's really hard for people to imagine. It's really hard to say, well, maybe you don't cook dinner till 7, or maybe you don't cook dinner till 8 or 9. Maybe everything has to be pushed back. Maybe the way that you envision what you need changes. I need that 3 hours of relaxation time watching TV. I mean, yeah, sure, but by you thinking you need that, and by choosing that, you're actively going against all the other things that are also important.
Yeah, well, what about, not to go back to health for a second. Okay, so you live this lifestyle where you get up just in time for work, you work until it's time to finish work, and then you know that you're not eating perfect, but let's face it, nobody does, so that's not a problem. You know that you used to be someone who exercised, but let's face it, you got kids now. So now your routine is literally you work, you make dinner for the kids, you bathe them, you put them to bed. It's 9:30, hang out with your wife for an hour, and you go to bed. Okay. How long do you do that before eventually you have a health scare that says, hey, over the course of the last, I don't know, let's call it 5 years, right? Seems like a pretty reasonable time. Kids are 0 to 5, probably do that 5 solid years. Mm-hmm. At the end of the 5th year, you look down and you say to yourself, oh my God, or worse, your doctor says to you, hey, you're pre-diabetes. Mm-hmm. Now what? Right. Now you have to say, okay, I have a choice. I can either cook dinner at 6 instead of 5, or I can leave work at 4 instead of 5. But at this point, I need to, or I can get up earlier and go to the gym. At this point, I need to. I'm no longer proactive about it. I'm reactive, but I still have to do these things. Right. And I think there's I know there's a large group of people that are my age, right, 43.
Yep.
Getting towards middle age or whatever, that are experiencing this right now. Mm-hmm. and they're saying to themselves, if only I had chosen to do it 2 days a week, right? If only Tuesday and Thursday I was like, hey, we're not going to eat till 6 on Tuesdays and Thursdays because I gotta go and move my body.
Right.
They're like saying to themselves, I wish I did.
Right.
I knew I should have. the science told me, the people told me, and more betterer, my body told me. Right? I am in tune with my body. I am a pretty intelligent human. But now, where are we? Now we're saying the doctor's telling me, the health insurance company is telling me, the life insurance company is telling me, right? Like, it's time to get life insurance.
Listen, buddy, we don't want to pay up. You got to move.
Yeah, like that's it. Like, hey, your premium would be $100 a month, but you're 45 pounds overweight and have a smoking habit.
Right.
So now, that's real stuff.
And then you're stuck there. You're stuck in this have to and need to and should and instead of doing it because you are taking care of yourself, and it's a problem to even be there because no one wants to be told that, and we live our lives like that. We live our lives with second grade. Like, you gotta be ready for third grade, buddy. Like, you gotta pack your bags and start studying because third grade is going to be legit. And you get third grade and they're like, listen, buddy, third grade, that's a joke. Like, wait till middle school. And then you get to middle school and like, middle school, this is nothing. You're baby. Wait till high school. Wait till college. Wait till real life, right? Everyone's always telling you, like, you got to do this. You have to do that. And then we live our life this way and we wonder why we're so, like, miserable because that sucks. It sucks to be reactive when you can be proactive and you can do it, and it's hard, but it helps you identify as the person who takes care of themselves, and that's a really strong identity, and that's not something that you can choose mentally. I don't think people really think enough about that, or they don't recognize that you can't just decide to be someone who cares about yourself. You have to act that way, and that means moving. That means eating somewhat well, and that means allowing for relaxation, and that means having good experiences, communicating well with spouse and family, right? Like, that's what that means, and there's no amount of mental gymnastics or mental game that you can do that will achieve that feeling. It has to be cultivated. It has to be built, and that's really the secret, I think, for a lot of people, is to act as if they care about themselves, and they will.
Yeah, I agree completely. We just interviewed Julie Foster, and we were talking a little bit about being proactive. And one of the things she said was, it was interesting to me. She said, maybe people aren't proactive because they have low self-esteem. They don't believe that they deserve to be somebody that is healthy.
And that's the point, because you're acting that way. You're squandering the moment that you can. Everything happens in action. That's the difficult dilemma, I think, with talking and getting so much information and the kind of back and forth, like the short videos and all that kind of stuff, is that we believe that that's doing something. We believe that, like, oh, I watched this TikTok and they told me like 3 little life tips on yada yada yada. But you know how much 8 hours of scrolling TikTok, it probably is not as impactful as writing one sentence in your journal. And I believe that 100%.
100%.
One sentence.
You can watch all the podcasts you want. You can listen to all of them. The Mel Robbins, the Joe Rogans, the self-help, the books.
Simple Healthy Lives.
The Simple Healthy Lives. We might help you. But really, it's about taking action. 1,000%. And when we talk about being proactive, I think we did kind of just actually boil something down. Like, in the end, being proactive means to take action. And choosing one thing to be proactive about. We recognize you can't be proactive on every topic, but if there's something out there, that looming thing out there, whether it's a relationship with your significant other or a job, right? It's funny, we talk about, like, getting a job, right? Like, I don't know about you, but no one ever handed me a job. No one was like, hey, Mike, I think you should, here's a job, right? And they're like, well, this is back in the day, but they're like, well, you know what you need to do? You need to get your resume together. You need to put it into this website. You need to interview, right? These are proactive steps, and each one of them is an action.
Right.
right? And the more actionable you can live your life, the more proactive you will be. And I believe while it's unquantifiable, the better off you'll be, the longer you'll live, the healthier relationships you'll have, and intentionally choosing action.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's so hard sometimes because I think people know that action's important. I don't think they know how much it's important, but they know, and then they say, well, I just don't, it's just not going to do anything, right? If I write this one sentence in this journal, there's no way that does something. And so we have that like little inner critic that's, debates these things. It does it for me. Like, I have 30 minutes. Go for a walk. That's not going to do anything.
Yes.
I'm not gonna feel better.
Yes.
I feel that too. But that's, again, it's just a thought. Whatever that voice is, that's just a thought. That's not true. It will do something. Imperfect action always is magnitude more powerful than scrolling or just sitting there doing
Inaction.
nothing. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The other thing that people run into, I think, with this, and this is maybe ties in well, is that I think a lot of people just really lack physical and mental energy.
Really?
Yeah.
Explain.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're not doing these things, you're not moving, you're not eating well, you're not getting good sleep, you're not mindful of the actions you are taking or the bad habits you're engaging in, well, you're probably not going to have good physical and mental energy, and there probably is going to be some deficits there. And there's good science behind this on the health front that we place a lot of wear and tear on our metabolic system. And I don't mean necessarily whenever I talk about metabolism, people think like calories in, calories out. No, I'm not necessarily talking about that. What I'm talking about is the hundreds and thousands of metabolic reactions that occur through the body to keep everything moving. And what happens over time, and this is a really kind of exciting area of research, is that they know that on these micro levels, cellular levels, that metabolism is becoming dysfunctional. And this is what they call like metabolic syndrome. And they've kind of talked a lot about this in regards to diabetes and obesity and cardiac risk. These are metabolic diseases, like dysfunctioning metabolism, because we're so unhealthy that it actually causes our cell to be to inadequately regulate energy. Mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, a lot of people know that from biology, but they're finding that this actually becomes damaged over time, that these mitochondria, and there's many within the cell depending on the type of cell, but these become damaged and then causes its ability to regulate ATP and keep up with everything, just like traffic jams. And then so you really do feel poor, right? People, everyone's like, well, that doesn't make sense because everyone's eating a lot. People are overfed, but they're undernourished, and that's a big distinction. They need to get the nutrients necessary to promote these functions, right? Like something like zinc or magnesium or iron. These nutrients, these minerals have 200 to 300 metabolic functions, right? So if you're deficient in that, which ones aren't happening and which traffic jams are happening, and so then you actually feel bad despite the fact that you might still be eating a lot of energy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
As you were speaking on this, I was reminded of something I just watched. Have you seen Don't Die on Netflix?
I think so.
Just Brian Johnson is his name. He's like an eccentric millionaire.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
So for those of you that haven't seen it, it's essentially this gentleman, Brian Johnson. He's 47. He's a multimillionaire, 100-millionaire. He sold a company, bought PayPal or one of the major payment online companies, and then sold it. So he lived his life as a normal person, lots of stress, and then chose to put $2 million a year into this project to increase his longevity. And so he takes like 50-something pills in the morning, only eats these certain things, does all of these, we'll call them current fringe things.
Sure, yeah.
But he does it every day.
Right.
And what's interesting to me was, and of course I only watched the Netflix documentary, right? So there's spin and there's all this stuff, but it was all of the people that were hating on him. All the people that are like, Psh, you can't live that way. You can't live your life that way. And the truth is, you're right. Like I can't. I don't have $2 million a year, nor do I choose to, right? But it's like this hatred, like this real hatred, because I think deep down we all know, hey, there's something there, right? You should be having your vitamins. You should be taking the time to understand, how do I really feel today? I think maybe that's one of the areas where people get really offended. Right? You ask somebody, how's your lifestyle make you feel? Really, how's it make you feel? How's it make you feel on Monday morning when you're like, do you have a case of the Mondays where you're like, oh man, I can't believe I have to go to work and do this thing again, right? Or like, I really just don't feel good and I don't have any energy on. Or how many people have told you, geez, by Friday I'm just so wiped out that I can't even go out and have fun with my friends. Right? How's your lifestyle really making you feel? Are you undernourished, right? Overeating and undernourished? Are you mentally taxed by the current situation that you're in, whether it's family or food or work? Like, and can you be proactive enough to say to yourself, how do I feel? How do I really genuinely feel? No, not taking anybody else into consideration. Maybe that's where we should start.
All right. I think people maybe recognize that, and you wake up every Monday at 6 a.m. to go to a job that you hate for 10 years straight. You probably feel pretty broken, right? And so I don't know what the solution to that is, but I know that it doesn't occur in a single decision. I know that it occurs with multiple decisions and a lot of actions and little tiny baby actions. The sentence in the journal, right? Or the 5-minute walk, or actually, I'm going to brush my teeth today. Actually, I'm going to shower today. Actually, I'm going to try and make a little bit of a healthier snack. I'm going to half the snack and replace it with a little fruit or something. It starts there, and you only do a disservice to yourself if you diminish the impact that those things might have. That won't do anything. I'm too deep in this hole.
Too far gone.
Yeah, too far gone. That's the worst thought. That's such an insidious thought.
Yeah, and we all have it. That's we get wrapped up in this whole, our own thoughts are our own, but we all have them. Even the people that are at the gym every day, I almost guarantee you every single one of them has I could just skip it today. I went yesterday. I don't have to go today. Or the people that haven't gone for 10 years. Well, what's it matter now, right? It's time to be proactive. It's time to stop being distracted. It's time to analyze and understand how you feel and then take actions around feeling better, being proactive in your own life, taking agency over you. Because we've already discussed it on a million different times, and there's a million examples of it. When you don't for long enough, well, for starters, the healthcare system gets involved, if not worse.
Right.
So, I think that's I think that we can leave a end on that.
Right. Yeah, I like it. You're not too far gone. Health can repair itself. You have a body that heals itself, and you have a metabolism that can heal itself too. And yeah, take those small little actions. Because what else are you gonna do?
Heck
Not?
Yeah, not. You've done that long enough.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, yeah, you can catch us all our other podcasts on Spotify or on YouTube. We're on a lot of different podcast platforms. Please rate us, like us, do all those things that make us feel good, and then we will catch you next time. Thanks.